If you want it, you can grab it with your hands. Nothing's out of reach. If you really want something, if you need it, you can grab it with your hands. Nothing's out of reach. If you really want something.
Hello all the wonderful people out there. Welcome to Jamaican Experience. My name is Gabi and today I'm going to tell you the rest of the story and how Uli finally, or after all, did really end up in jail. Imagine that. Big thank you to all the people who subscribe to our channel. Please keep it up, continue to do so, subscribe, share, like and comment below. Right? Don't forget. So last time I told you about how Uli came out of hospital and over some time things get a little better after he learned everything new and so, and I thought, you know, we are doing better. Until to this one day when he got a letter from the police station in Farmers that he was supposed to go there and carry his passport. So remember I asked my good friend from Liquorport to please go for me to the police station and check it out, because for some reason I didn't want to go there. I don't know what I was thinking also, but no, hell no, I don't want to go there. So lucky me, when I needed help he always was there, and there was this other elderly gentleman, he went with him. So the two of them went to Farmers police station, and after an hour or so he came back, and God knows, yes, he did end up in jail. They locked him up, and the reason was because of overstay, not because of drunk driving or something. No, it was because of overstay. But remember, he was not allowed to fly, not even to KPH hospital, because the doctor said that would be impossible for him because of his brain injuries, right? So it definitely was not his fault. So the next day I went there to visit him, to see for myself, because I somehow just couldn't believe this really happening. I mean, after all what we went through, so now this really, I mean, how far things can get. So I went to this old prison or jail or whatever you want to call it, like, and it's just something what you expect out of the old movies, like the real ancient ones. Also, if you wouldn't be so sad, it actually was an interesting place, but at that time also I didn't find it very interesting. Cells were very old and he was together in there with like 4 or 5 other men. We only talked shortly. We talked about lawyer and stuff like, and he said, I don't need a lawyer, I gotta defend myself, I did not do anything wrong, and don't worry, I will be out here in a minute. So I went back home, but before I went back home I went to the doctor, because the hospital wasn't that far away from there. So I went to the hospital to talk to that same doctor who took care of him in the very beginning, and I asked him to please come Monday, because court was set on Monday and the hearing and so on, and I asked him, please could you come, and he said of course. Right? I told him the entire story and he just could not believe what had happened. Really, you did really feel sorry for us. You could tell, definitely. So I then went home. So then again the very next morning the doorbell rang, and there was this young guy waiting outside. I didn't know him, not very well, but I did know him just by seeing and talking to him once in a while, like also, so I sort of did know him. And he told me a story I just couldn't believe, right? He said something, it goes something like that. He said he was in the same cell with my ex-husband, together with those other guys. And one of the gentlemen in there said to my ex-husband to empty out the buckets, because in those days they didn't have a bathroom there, just buckets. So my ex said also, I don't empty out no bucket, are you mad, or something like that. I mean, he was a proud guy, and you couldn't tell him nothing. So yeah, that was so much about that, because they beat up on him. It was something else, and his head, and always on his head, and they kicked him and they boxed him and they did do God knows what. Right? So if not for this young youth, he was like back then maybe 16 years old and in there for little minor thing. I think it was because of a bicycle what he did take. But somehow God always take care of us, right? And he was that night at the same cell and he said, wait, I'm the youngest one, I will empty out the bucket. Leave the man alone. And he shouted and screamed for help, and after a while a police officer came and probably saved his life, because otherwise I guess he would be dead. So when I saw him on court day Monday morning, I couldn't believe, because he went from being better and could talk for himself and had a mind of his own to way back like after the accident. Couldn't talk anymore, he was totally confused. I mean, there was no way he could defend himself in court. But anyhow, we had to go to court. My friend from Liquorpot and the other older guy, he came with us and for support, and so thanks God the doctor came too. And the doctor told the judge that he could not fly because of obvious reasons, that he could not allow that. He wasn't even able to fly to Kingston, right? So how could he fly to Germany? So it was definitely not his fault. I also then told the judge how things were after the accident, that he had to learn to tie his shoelace and learning to go to the bathroom and all such things, what I told you in my last video. And I guess the judge had a heart after all, and he set him free. But yeah, it wasn't that simple. I thought he could just come home with us, but there was no way, because we were supposed to get some sort of letter from Barrytown police station. Don't remember what kind of letter that actually was. So they locked him up back in jail, and me and my friends, we went to Barrytown police station. Oh, I will never forget. I mean, with my last cent, I was so broke in those days. All my money went down the hill. There was no more resources or income or whatever. You know, when things down, they are just down, and it didn't seem to get any better from there. So we took a taxi, still had that money for a taxi, went to Barrytown, but we had to come out at the main road. People who know Barrytown know it's still a good walk to reach to the police station, and I just couldn't manage to walk. Halfway up, there was a little wall, and my friend told me to just stay there and sit down on the piece of wall and just wait for him, because I just couldn't manage. I did feel like I was fainting any moment. No breakfast, all this stress for me last couple of months and everything, it was just too much maybe for me. So he went alone with the other guy to the police station to get that piece of paper. I don't know how miserable I must looked in those days, but there was this one guy, he went out of his way and bought me a Pepsi and gave it to me, so I had something to drink. Another lady passed by, she did live nearby, and she got some water and gave it to me, so I guess I really must have looked terrible. And it was nice to get the support and people care about it, and so it's not like, oh, it doesn't matter, and so it was a nice experience in a way. So after a while, my friends came back. They had a piece of paper, but we had a problem. None of us had any money for a taxi. So my friend said, don't you worry, I know so many taxi drivers, and so somebody sure will pass, and I will just ask him to carry us, and somehow we will find something. And believe you me, that guy really did know about half of Jamaica, at least, if not more. He did know everybody. God bless his heart. So we waited for a while until he said one thing. Guy, remember, you have this small TV. Maybe we could offer a driver, whosoever it will be, to just you just give him the TV as pay, sort of. It was one of those small TVs what you actually could run in one car, you know. So it was nothing fancy, expensive also, but it did work, at least I thought so. And then the first car passed, second car passed, and I was like, hello, when he's going to stop a car, because I can't manage no more. Third car come, and he stopped. I can't tell you how relieved I was. So we told that guy this story about what happened to we, and that we tried to get this guy out of jail and had to go to the police station there to get this piece of paper and all that. But we have a small little problem, we can't pay you, but I have a nice TV for you. And you can just imagine, but he just said yes. There was something else. So we went into the taxi, we drove, and when we reached Liquorpot, my friend, he wanted to go back to his shop because he had some business to do there, right? And I think he did help me enough that day, so he definitely deserved to go home now. And then we found out there was a big accident just it happened at Long Bay. Remember, that was the same place where my ex had his accident. So it's not the only one had accident there. It was a minibus and many people injured, and that's what we found out so far. So there was no way that we could pass through. So we did have to wait. So we waited and waited. And meanwhile, that guy was sweet talking me like and smiling and thing, and I was like, hell, leave me alone. So I told him I'm married and I'm this and I'm that and so, and I'm anyway. I have this useless husband and I don't need no more. I'm tired of any man at all and I don't want a man and whatsoever. I did told him also, and he said, oh, I'm different. So after that, I just told him also, that's what the last one said too. He said too also, I'm different. So thank you very much. I don't need nobody. So much about that. After a while, we were told that we could pass through now. So we went to the police station. We get to pick up my ex-husband, and he drove us back home. Yeah, and then there was something my ex had to do in Montego Bay the next day. I don't really remember what it was. I mean, that was around 1994 or something like that. So it's quite a while and it's hard to remember everything in detail. But I remember he had to do something and also look for his friend, and I know he was trying to find some money or some sort of resources, something. And taxi guy, he said, no problem, I will pick him up in the morning. You know, that little TV of yours shall do for pay, and I will pick him up in the morning and I will carry him downtown Montego Bay. And that's what he did. Couple of times we went to Kingston, to the German embassy, because I mean, I could not pay him a ticket to go back to Germany. Obviously his family didn't care about him, which up to this day I can't really believe, because his brothers, they had money. It's not like they were some poor guys or something. They definitely could afford a ticket or even help him in the hospital or do something, but hell no. So German embassy first was very reluctant, and they said, let me look. I mean, I know nowadays also they wouldn't do that anymore, but at the end they did help him, and they actually did pay for a ticket which he was supposed to pay back then later when he went back to Germany, and you know, when he was able to pay back. So I remember that. But first he came back with this great idea. At that point he didn't know yet that he would get a ticket from the German embassy, so we were trying to save some money. And so he said, oh, I found a nice place in Lilliput and it's a lot cheaper, and so, you know, we could move there and it's just perfect. And I did something what I never did do before in my entire life, and I never will do again. Also, I didn't even look at the place. I just was happy to hear it was Lilliput, or Licklepot like we say, and I didn't look at the place before. Wow. I only remember my furniture, they had to somehow lift him up by a rope over the balcony, like it was on the second floor, which was quite interesting, but it did work. I then found out there was another guy living at the same upstairs. So every one of us had a bedroom and his own bathroom, but we had to share the kitchen and the living room, which was really something else. I mean, it's okay if you were told about it before, but I didn't know. So that really came as a surprise. Tja. But my furnitures were there, I was back in Licklepot, what the hell. So we did move in. And that was it. And after probably 2-3 weeks, when my ex found out from the German embassy that he could go back to Germany, he had his ticket now. I remember that day we all carried him to the airport, and it was a really sad goodbye, because I didn't know when I will ever see him again or see him. I don't know, I didn't know nothing. And that was something else, because we always been good friends. Many years later, I saw him one more time in not a very good condition, but that probably will be another story. For me now, it was starting all over again. No money, no taxi, no nothing, anything. So guys, what I almost totally forgot to tell you. The taxi driver I met by accident, so to say, on a day where things, I guess, couldn't get any worse, and where I was on my lowest, and when we still were living in Greenwood. I remember he drove Uli sometimes to Montego Bay and to Kingston, to the embassy, and later to the airport and all of that. Guess how that turned out to be? That was my future picnipper, like Jamaicans would say, my children's father-to-be. He just decided 2 or 3 weeks after we met her, so he just did move in. He had his things with him, and that was just it. I don't know where my head was, so that I didn't say anything. But he was just, probably I was just tired of always doing everything alone, and obviously my Jamaican husband, he was absolutely useless, because he only had his girlfriend problems and things, and so I really couldn't rely on him, obviously, and he definitely let me down, and probably it was just nice to not to be alone in all this mess, right? So, but that's how I met Chrissy's and Sarah's father. And we stayed together for 12 years. Yeah, that's how life goes sometimes. It's really funny, don't? When you're way down on the bottom, also there's some light at the end of the tunnel, and so you make new friends, and God knows what else can happen in our life. So next time, I will tell you how the story continues, because we are going to move again. I mean, you have to remember also, this not just happens so like you move every 2 weeks also. Of course, there were some months in between and stuff like, but I guess I couldn't make so many videos. But next time I will tell you about that, when I finally got my own place. So until such time, people, take care of each other, stay safe, remember to subscribe. Right? Remember that button down there? Don't forget. Share it on Facebook, share it everywhere, comment below. Love you guys, take care, bye bye.
Yeah, your heart is a sun, and it shines as it opens.
Well, your heart is a sun, and it shines as it opens.
Yeah, your heart is a sun,